SHMACKEMAGOB, everybody. Oh man, today is a great day. Today, this has been released. Vio-Lence, Let the World Burn. I've been waiting for this. This is my favorite, my all-time favorite thrash band. Killian is the greatest thrash singer in my opinion. And I pre-ordered it. Let me show you, man. This is a pretty cool packaging on this album. It brings a poster, and I'll show you the poster now. And that's the download card. Okay. And I want to talk about the album. Each track is pretty much the album cover. Big ass poster. Love it. And it also brings... Alright. Let me put this aside for now. It looks like it's going to be a hassle to put it back together. This is the download card. Can you see the number? I haven't downloaded it yet, and I plan on doing it. But I did listen to this several times now. As I'm recording this, it is Wednesday, but it's being released Friday, which I'm airing this. And I've been playing it like crazy. It also brings this. It's a collage of the band with the sick-ass Killian lyrics on it that really do not disappoint. And check out the vinyl. This is really cool. It's like, what is it? Like an orange-red vinyl with the artwork on the little decal there. Metal Blade Records. I highly recommend this. And why do I highly recommend it? Because I'm going to talk about the songs now, which I took notes. It is fairly new. Like, I don't have to take notes for Eternal Nightmare or Oppressing the Masses or Torture Tactics, trust me. Alright. It starts with Flesh from Bone. Right out the bat. This may be my favorite one. Right out the bat, vicious Vio-Lence is back. Killian killing it with those insane and equally insane vocals and equally insane lyrics like smelling flowers and fields of death, I stand on cowards inhaling their last breath. Instant violent classic right there. Next track is called Screaming Always, and you know, when this song starts, it's no time to catch your breath from the last track. And it comes out ripping with these amazing riffs. But midway it does slow down with this killer midsection. Then it's into this brutal section with Sean spitting out, you know, these fucking pure brutality lyrics with this brutal approach that only he can do. And then it even gets more insane at the climax. You know, this shit is, let me tell you, man, this right here, it's pure thrash with no preservatives. I'm telling you, this band fucking owns. And they're back, motherfucker. Next song, Upon the Cross. Man, this one's killer. They're all killer, but this one's killer like the other ones. This one is, it's more crunchy and heavy. It's not like, you know, 100 million miles an hour. But it's got this killer thrashing vibe, you know, vicious lyrics. And the solo, it's like Phil, Demo, and Bobby Gustafson going back and forth. Bobby Gustafson, who used to be in Overkill, in case you don't know, he's in Vio-Lence now, crushing it. And they're going, these two guys are going back and forth trying to out-crush each other, and who wins? I do, okay? Because I got the new Vio-Lence. People that love Vio-Lence, they win. Because it's amazing. And, wow. You know, and these lyrics, you know, vicious beyond known chaos, stand still, Upon the Cross, a fucking killer. Alright, then it goes into Gato Negro, which is Black Cat, which is based on the Edgar Allan Poe thing that Edgar Allan Poe did. This one's slamming pure thrash attack. You know, it's got this, you know, it's just, it attacks my senses, man. It's like, dude, man, I put on this EP and it's over, and I play it again and again. That's all I've been doing, is playing this shit over and over again. And what a great, you know, it's got these like different sections that it's heavier than the last one, heavier, and then, you know, it gets heavier with each section. It's a motherfucker of a song. Then the last track, it is the title track. And oh boy, what a way to go out. It ends this EP with the most brutal song on here. And that's not easy to do because all these fucking songs are brutal. And there's something about Sean's lyrics that puts him above every thrash singer, if you ask me, man. It's sick, demented insanity. And that badass spoken word, he does a spoken word during it where it just stops and he just like spews out like this hateful fucking spoken word. And I feel it, man. And you know what it does, it just builds up a little bit and then bam! Then he gets fucking crazy and then it goes into another little duel with Phil and Bobby going back and forth, ripping it. Amazing. And you know, somebody I haven't talked about on this album is Perry Strickland. The guy's just a monster drummer. And on this track, at the end of it, I mean, he beats the shit out of this track. I think that's why this is an EP. Because he destroyed his drums. They couldn't record no more songs. But, you know, it just ends it with such an oomph. So, yeah. Vio-Lence, my favorite thrash back is, my favorite thrash band is back. You see, I'm so excited I'm mumbling. I can't even get words out right, man. And I'm very happy, you know. Would I have liked a full-length album? Yeah, sure. But you know what? I just saw a recent interview with Sean saying that I'm going to start working on another EP soon. So that's like an album, man. So bring it. Now, a special thanks to Rack Salad Reviews. They got Sean Killian an interview. And Wayne from Rack Salad asked me if I wanted to be part of the interview. And I was like, do nuns love Jesus? Of course I want part of it, you know? And yeah, I'm going to play you now. It's kind of an edited version. If you want to see the full version, I got a link below. But there is the beginning, which wasn't on the Rack Salad video, that you'll find a link below, which before we started recording, where I thought we were recording, and I was talking about a full-blown riot when I saw Testament and Vio-Lence back in '88. And Sean remembered it, and you know, and then I go full-on fanboy on this. I mean, I go mental. You know, it's an awesome interview. The guy sat with us for like 2 hours. So, if you want to see the full interview down there, but I put on the section that wasn't seen on the Rack Salad review, and plus like an edited version of the interview with Sean. And it's really detailed. My buddy Ryan, man, he said, after he saw the interview, he said, that's the best Sean Killian interview ever, man. You really got into detail. You talked to, you know, breed like rats. You talk about all this shit that nobody would ask. That's because I'm a mega fan, dude. I'm just a mega fan of this dude. And what a cool ass dude, as you'll see in this interview, man. He hung with us and it was just a lot of fun. So, Let the World Burn, the new Vio-Lence, out today. Get it or suck. It's your option. All right, everybody, enjoy the interview, so stay frosty. Listen to Vio-Lence, Let the World Burn, and Black Sabbath. And SHMACKEMAGOB.
Sean, hey, look, first of all, I got to tell you, I'm trying to hold down my fanboyism for you, but
thanks, bro.
Vio-Lence is my favorite thrash band. You are my favorite thrash frontman and singer. I traveled twice to Oakland, well, once to Oakland to see you, and I saw the first Thrash of the Titans reunion show.
Yeah.
And I saw you down here in Miami 3 times with Voivod. And I got to ask you this. Do you remember, and I know, you know, you've toured a lot, and of course you can remember, but this show, I'd be shocked if you don't remember this. When you played with Testament and Hollandale and a riot broke out.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Those two guys were sitting over there on the side. They were dressed in like Miami Vice clothes, and I was talking some shit to them. But it was a great show. It was hell of intense. I remember, I think my shirt got ripped off me. And when Testament went on, the security came in for who knows why. Probably some Karen called the cops, but
yeah.
And yeah.
And
they went on stage with Chuck
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah, and they threw Eric Peterson on the amplifiers to stop
Yeah.
the show, and we left. Me and my friend dipped, and while we were leaving, getting on 95, we saw an army of paddy wagons going into the Button South, and we heard it was like a full-blown riot.
That's right, the Button South.
Yeah, that's what it was, the Button South.
Yeah. I know we got the hell out of there. But it was, I remember it being a killer show, and the fans, you know, the crowd was like totally intense. I was in the crowd when Testament was on because, you know, I'm a fan of music. I wanted to see him. And, you know, I watched him pretty much every night, but of that tour. And yeah, I was kind of like, is that a cop on stage?
Yeah, and speaking of cops, on the Torture Tactics EP, it says on the CD that Officer Nice Live wasn't at that Hallandale show. So yeah, that's on the thing. But anyway, yeah, I've seen you guys a bunch of times. Huge fan. And yeah, I went to one of your afternoon shows in Oakland like 2-3 years ago because they were selling out so quick. I couldn't get the night show. Then I got the afternoon. Yeah. So yeah, you know, and I met you too, and you were super cool. I met you before the show and stuff. But yeah, because Sean, this is a violent show, and Sean you just walked in casual, you know, like through the crowd, and it was like, by the way, I don't want to hog this interview because I'm the mega fan.
Well, it didn't start yet, so you're okay.
We're not live yet.
Oh, we're not live yet?
Not yet.
No.
No, you just took over
Sean,
the show. You forgot it's not the Ralph Vieira show.
Man, I've been waiting so long for this reunion, and not to be a bitch or anything, but man, an EP, I wanted a full length. But hey, I'll take what I can get, you know? I did pre-order it, and when's it coming out? Because I pre-ordered it. So is it coming out like
March 4th?
Okay, that's very soon.
Yep.
Yeah, I pre-ordered the vinyl, and I'm very, man, the 2 songs I heard so far, brutal, amazing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
thanks.
It's just amazing and total violence. And another question. I mean, I've heard this answer a million times, but let's just see if there's been anything talked about oppressing the masses. I mean, is that still Atlantic not giving it up?
So we asked
This
Metal
is good
Blade
content for the show. We haven't started
We're
yet.
live. We're live. Welcome to Red Sal Review. Forget the intro.
Thanks, Wayne.
And welcome our special co-host, Mr. Ralph Vieira, aka the Good Dr. FUKK from VIERA Vault and Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. Mr. Greg back in the house, Mr. Greg Noggle, and our special guest tonight, Mr. Sean Killian of Vio-Lence.
Yes,
welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So oppressing the masses, anything, or it's the same shit?
So we reached out to Metal Blade to see if they can acquire the rights from Atlantic, because, you know, they wouldn't talk to us. And when they did, I guess Atlantic had it on the block to sell to someone else. So we don't know what's going on with it, but hopefully that someone else releases it because, you know, it's a killer album, and we sold the rights to them, and we've asked them to sell it back to us. You know, Phil's contacted them in the past, and then they just stopped taking his phone calls. You know, it's one of those things. I don't know. Maybe they were pissed because of Torture Tactics, and you know, and us talking shit about them pulling it from the record.
My all-time favorite song, and I know it's going to sound trendy because my favorite is, of course, Eternal Nightmare. But man, World in a World, that song.
Yeah, that's a killer.
So,
that riff, we always play it last because that riff just makes the crowd explode. You know, and so we always play it last.
It's a vicious video. And I gotta say, what I love too about the new video, you're rocking the turtleneck again, man.
It's actually a coat, but yeah, I wanted a coat that had nothing, no buttons or nothing, and I was able to find it like the day before. Men's Warehouse or some shit. It was on clearance. It's a little tight, but I was like, I gotta have it. No one's gonna tell once he does all his magic with the video.
There was no video for Eternal Nightmare, right? Nothing was made for
no video for Eternal.
Yeah, but so
my dog's part of the interview too, guys.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're animal lovers here. It's all good.
In the CD, and I had always read in magazines and stuff that version of Officer Nice was actually recorded in the studio with audience noise. So that's awesome to find out that's really live.
The demo one
Yeah.
with Torch Attack. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
hella live, dude.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no,
Dude,
no shit. It even says it on Metal Archives. It calls it a false
Greg.
live recording.
Hold on, dude. Great.
Yeah.
So what we did is we put a little bug in there that if people pay attention, they'll pick up on it. Because we're all like, oh, live in Japan, and I'm like Gung Hei Fa Choi, which is Chinese. I think I'm like, all right, Japan, thanks Japan, and then Gung Hei Fa Choi. But yeah, we did that in the studio, and yeah, it was fun. But we did play it live. We didn't track it. You know what I'm saying? We did jump in there. I think I put my vocals on it after, but they played it straight through, just like
I got you.
And we do play the song live. You know, that's that's definitely a song that, you know, stays on the list. We'll have to make some room, you know, with the 5 new songs coming out. And, you know, we'll see how it goes. But a cool thing about the corner thing, it's a double headline bill. So
Cool. So
That's
cool.
awesome.
yeah, we'll
Now-
get. I think each band plays for 60 minutes or something like that.
Oh, cool.
Nice. That is awesome. You know, I gotta say, man, one of the crazy, I mean, you're very well known. You got the insane lyrics and insane delivery. But man, the one song that was never released because it was only on demo was oh my God, why am I having a brain fart right now?
Paraplegic.
No, though that's a great one. I'm talking about even after Nothing to Gain. It ended up on the Torque Breed. The
Breed
song,
Like Rats.
yeah. Oh man, that song.
Yeah.
I like the Torque version, but the way you deliver that one, I think that's one of your most insane.
So you've heard the demo.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I have the demo. Yeah, I
Yeah.
even have what you guys released in, I think it was like some magazine in Canada before Eternal Nightmare came out. It was for free. It was a cassette. You remember that? Well, I think it was demos for Eternal Nightmare before Eternal Nightmare came out.
Yeah, yeah. Mechanics put that out.
Yeah, I even got that before. And you
No,
guys,
yeah. Breed Like Rats is definitely a song that you know, I just went all out, you know, on that. And because at the time we just finished Nothing to Gain, and we, you know, then we did everything we needed to do that you know, Megaforce was asking us for, and then they didn't release it. And it was just like, so when we started writing again, I was like, yeah, fuck all this.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
going
you
hard.
actually recorded that in 1990, right?
Which one?
Nothing to Gain.
Yeah, I think it was 90, 91, somewhere in there, with Michael Rosen at Fantasy Studios in Berkeley.
Oh wow, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did purchase Nothing to Gain not too long ago on vinyl. I don't know if that's a bootleg. Do you know if that
I
was
don't know.
released?
Is it on, like, what label is it on? Do you know?
If you give me a second, I'll go grab it and you guys can
Sure.
ask questions.
Oh, can we?
Okay.
Hey, Wayne.
I
Hey,
have
Sean,
never
how's it
seen
going?
anyone so
Good, man.
enthusiastic. This is awesome. I love it. It's like childlike innocence, and he's older than all of us. But I digress.
Hey, now you watch that.
Sean, I'd like to ask a question because I'm a bit of an audiophile. You know, I love the sound of the old Vio-Lence albums, but I can't get over how good the new singles sound.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, what was the difference in production from then and now? Did you decide to go straight digital? Is it analog at all? Like, you know, what are the what would you say the difference in production is for Vio-Lence now at this point?
So Eternal Nightmare was all 2-inch reel with John Kuhn and Birdie. And we recorded that on Melrose at, oh man, something involved or something, I can't remember. And then we did the vocals and leads in San Francisco. And it's Pressing the Masses. You know, we went to Alex Perry Alice's place in upstate New York, and he recorded it. Everything was done on the 2-inch, but he also had an ADAT going at the same time. I don't know if he just kept the ADAT, you know, for his personal records, and then this is all digital now, you know. And
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
we're not in like a big studio spending 90 grand like we used to. We're just, we're with Juan. Juan's studio is not like Fantasy Studios where there's multiple studios. And so it's like really fits us, and so we're all comfortable when we're in there. It doesn't seem like this intense environment, and this time around too, it was like our attitudes were more like, yeah, we're having a good time and let's keep that rolling. And, so Perry did his drums first, and then the guys did the rhythms, and then Christian did his, I'm not sure if Christian did his bass, and then I think they did their leads, and then Christian did his bass, and then I followed up at the end. But, when I was there doing my tracks, it was like just me and Juan. Phil would pop in, for a little bit just to listen. And then we did we did 3 songs the first weekend, and then we took a couple weeks off and then did 2 songs. So it wasn't like, Eternal Nightmare and Oppressing the Masses, where I'm like recording vocals 7 days straight or 5 days straight for, 8 hours a day. So it was kind of a more relaxed environment too. And then, Two Mats and just, took what Juan put down, captured and just turned it into this sound. And Ted Jensen did the mastering of it. And he's another very popular guy. I think he's got some Grammys too.
Yeah, I can imagine,
Yeah.
like, the stress of releasing an EP is a lot less than it is to release a full length album. But I mean, even as an EP, what I would compare it to production wise would have to be one of my favorite albums from the previous year, which would be Blood on the Water by Flotsam and Jetsam, and has that really tight, crisp, locked in sound. And I understand that you tracked everything, but it really sounds like the band is playing as one unit.
Right.
Especially on the 2 songs
sure.
that have been released. I absolutely love it. And you got Christian, who was in Fear Factory, one of my favorite bands growing up, and definitely love his bass playing with Fear Factory. Yeah. So he definitely adds to that precision. I mean, you got a killer quintet in Vio-Lence right now. Yes, of course, and Bobby from Overkill, well, formerly of Overkill, now of Vio-Lence. So
So our thing was when we got Bobby, when Phil and I were talking about doing a new record, that was like our 4th show. We were playing with Sacred Reich in Mesa, and he wanted that down picking and that muted sound, and so Bobby and Perry, they were friends. They've been friends for a long time, and Perry's always wanted to jam with them, so we had him over. And it wasn't about oh, can Bobby play the riffs? It was about, can Bobby be in the room with the 3 of us, and same with Christian, can we be in a room together? Because their abilities, there's no question that they can play their instruments, so it's the other part's way more important, is like, do we all fit together in the same room? And do we have a good time? And when we write, it's me and Phil, and Perry's in the room with the drums, and it's the riffs. Some of them are like, he came in with a few riffs, and we made 1 riff out of 2, and added some technical stuff to it. And it's easy to do because Phil, when you're writing, it's like it's coming off the top of your head. You're trying to figure it out on the neck of your guitar. And he does really well with it. He hears notes, and he's able to move his fingers fast and make it work. And so I dig writing with the guy.
I pulled out the Nothing to Gain, and it's Night of the Vinyl Dead label.
Okay.
It's real. It's a vanity label in Italy.
Yeah, we sold that to. I know that name is very familiar, so I know we did a deal with them to get that out in vinyl.
Well, Sean, how's your health going? Because you had the liver cirrhosis a while ago. How's
everything? It's going good. It was my surgery was March 26, 2018, and my brother-in-law. It was a living donor program at UCSF, and my brother-in-law was a match, and so he donated 63% of his liver to me. And since it took me about 6 months to recover, and that kind of is what led to us getting back together, because so many people came out and helped out. I just felt like, how do I repay these people? And that was the only way I could think of it. And then at the time, when I text Phil, he was available. So, you know, I think he left Machine Head in October, and this was like the January after. But yeah, I'm feeling great, you know. Like everyone else, try to keep the weight off my belly if I can.
Yeah, it's not so easy.
But I like my carbs.
Hey, who doesn't, right?
It's a pain in the ass.
I posted I think it was the GoFundMe or something when you were having that issue, and I know a lot of people donated to that. Thank you. Thanks to me, man. Over 56,000 people on that.
Yeah.
And I just kept plugging it, you know, and I donated my
Thank you.
500, man.
Humble brag much, Ralph?
Well, the cool thing was about the benefits that, you know, the benefit show and filled through a golf tournament with some help with some other guys, and the GoFundMe thing is like, you know, I worked right up until the day of my surgery. I was miserable, but you know, that helped to pay medical bills and to keep my kids' lives from not being drastically changed because I was out of work for 6 months healing, you know. So that was a huge help.
Yeah, and plus your brother-in-law. I mean, I remember seeing you say that on the Zetro thing where, you know, it's rare to find like a match like that, and that's amazing. You know, it's like you were meant to stay with us, man. You know,
I defy the odds. That's all I ever do.
I'm gonna let these guys talk. I just want to say,
sure.
And I'll stay quiet for a while. Don, really. I'm trying to keep my fandom down, but I just have to say that if I was a chick,
Oh no.
wait, hold on. If I was a chick, I still wouldn't bang you, but I would hook you up with my hot lesbian girlfriend. That's how much I love you, man.
Awesome. Who doesn't like a hot lesbian?
I'm gonna one up them. I'd let you bang my mom.
Is she hot?
Of course.
I am speechless.
All right, well, that's the end of tonight's show. Thanks for joining us.
I'm gonna be quiet now.
I don't know if that's possible.
Are you kidding me? I'm loving this. Ralph's
No, this is
enthusiasm
awesome.
is like
I don't care.
awesome.
This is, you know, this is what the show is.
If you want me to keep talking, I got more to say.
We didn't say that. Let Wayne ask some questions.
But Sean, when Vio-Lence broke up, what did you do? Like, did you continue with music at all?
No, so I was never in a band before Vio-Lence, and then I left Vio-Lence after Nothing to Gain because I just didn't see this industry, you know, like there was any real hope for bands out there just trying to create, you know. And then I just went and got my contractor's license. Been working, you know, building stuff and working for big developers and raising my kids and you know, just doing that stuff, the dad stuff. You know, my daughter, she dances, and my son plays ice hockey. So he's 18. He plays for a junior hockey team, and my daughter's 14. She's a competitive dancer.
Oh, very good.
So that's what I've been doing, you know, just living the life. You know, I went, oh, this ain't paying much. I got to go find something that does pay good. And so I was able to build a career.
Now that you're back, how much do you notice things have changed since you left?
Well, you know, you got the information stuff everywhere, and what's cool is that, like, back in the day, you'd have a magazine write a shitty article about your album, and that was just it. Right now, a magazine writes a shitty article about you, and your fans go on there and attack. You know, so people can comment back, you know, as opposed to just reading the magazine and there's no rebuttals or anything like that. So, you know, and same with fanzines at the time. But now you have the, you know, information society, and you know, word travels fast, and which is kind of a good thing for bands and businesses that are trying to, you know, create something. And that plus with the digital era, you know, you don't need what you used to need back in the day as far as financing, and so you're able to do it. Like we never wanted to have like a record label bid, you know, where labels are, you know, trying to compete to get our EP. You know, we just went straight to Metal Blade. And, you know, Phil talked to Brian, and we worked out a deal, and we only, you know, got the money that we needed to do what we needed to do. You know, it wasn't like you needed all this extra dough you know, and we did it there at Juan, so it wasn't like we flew somewhere or, you know. But I think too is the labels, they could put out more product, you know, and you know, I mean, Metal Blade, they're putting out stuff seems like every day,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
We're kind of in line, you know, to put our stuff out in March, right? It's been ready for a while, but you know, with manufacturing stuff, you just kind of get in the line. And so March 4th was our date, and you know, we had deadlines to meet before that. But I think that the ability to do stuff digitally saves money and makes it more convenient. Like I can go down to Juan's, we just send him, you know, Phil records something on his Pro Tools and sends it to me, and then I write and I send it to Juan, and then I can go down there at a studio with a real microphone, a real setup, and record vocals as a demo. You know, we demoed a lot of this material. I demoed a lot of it with Christian. Because Christian has Pro Tools and he's just a genius at it. So he would bring his computer up to our studio, our practice studio, and we would demo there. You know, as opposed to having to go somewhere. As a matter of fact, California Uber Alice, we did in our rehearsal studio, and then Christian produced all of that himself. You know, he took it home with him, and so what you hear on there is all Christian's production. So it just makes things easier, you know. Like, dude, back in the day, I had a cassette. It was like picking up all the rooms, so you hear, you know, the cymbals and some guitar and a little bass, and then I'm like trying to write over that. Now it's like, you know, a lot better.
You can actually hear what's going on. I was going to ask, why did you pick that song to cover? That's a great song, by the way. I love the Kennedys, but
yeah. So when we played in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Bazaar, we played "Living in the City" by Fear, and then we were going to play in Oakland. And we figured, well, let's play California Uber Alice. We throw it in the set, and you know, we were rehearsing it, and then everything shut down. So it was like we wrote Flesh from Bone and Screaming Always, and then went from, we were just Phil was kind of like, well, we should do something, put it out, you know, so we have something out there that people can listen to. And so, you know, we were like, well, let's do the Dead Kennedy song since we know it, you know. And like I said, we recorded in our rehearsal studio and put it out. I think some people were like a little critical, but we weren't like, we just put it out because we wanted to do something. We filmed it in Phil's bar that was closed at the time because of COVID. So
and did you hear from Jello at all? Did he say anything about
it? We contacted him, you know, because we had to get the rights from Metal Blade, had to get the rights to use it, and then we contacted him, asked him if he was available, if he wanted to be in the video behind the bar. But he was not in town, I don't think, or he was leaving to go do something. And so that's Phil's wife behind the bar, Nurse Cratchit, is what we kind of likened her to.
That's Marta, formerly of Bleeding Through, correct?
Correct, yeah.
I would assume that with doing a cover, it would just be a matter of having to pay mechanical fees to the original writers, which is Jello Biafra. You actually had to get permission from him to cover it?
I don't know how they did it. It's the label did it. You know, they got people. They
know people who know people who know people.
They do.
There you go.
Well, me personally, I loved it. I love it better than the original song because, all due respect, could never stand Jello's voice. So
I like Phil. Dean loved Dead Kennedy, so we listened to it all the time when he was driving the van. You know, we were touring like Eternal Nightmare, and it wore on it. I wasn't a real fan of his voice, but his lyrics are amazing, and so, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a good song. It's just because one, it fit Vio-Lence's attitude, you know, and outlook and everything, and then just your vocals just totally connected with me. I love it. Great cover.
Thanks, dude.
Is it on the EP, the cover?
It's a single.
I don't know.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I saw the.
You don't know what's on your own EP?
I don't think I saw it.
Well, he's got to wait for Brian to press 6 different limited edition copies of the Slayer album first before they put it out.
Oh, we're on the 6th edition now. Okay,
but and then you recently, I think it was last year, right? You just got over COVID.
Yeah, I got COVID in August, and I had it in 2 weeks. You know, it was kind of like, I felt like crap, but
Right.
that third week I started having problems breathing. Cause you know, I got to be on, I'm here like I'm on COVID and I'm taking my immune suppressant drugs for my liver.
Right.
Thinking to myself, this isn't really a good combination.
Right.
This is going to catch up with me. And so, you know, the third week I went in, I was having a little bit of trouble breathing. So I went in and spent about 7 days there cycling through antibiotics and stuff. But I probably could have left after the third day. But like I said, I was going through the antibiotics. I was off oxygen. I was on it when I first got there, but yeah. And, you know, I'm fine. It took me a few weeks to recover.
Yeah. No long lasting effects or anything from it?
It took about 3 weeks to recover fully, you know, where I could feel like I could breathe, you know, because anything you do at that stage, you're like it's like you're winded, even getting up to go take a piss, you know. Since you have Ralph and I on here, I think the more important question for Sean would be DLR or Van Hagar?
Sean, my fandom to you depends on.
Oh, please.
Yeah, David Lee Roth, dude.
You're lucky. You're lucky.
That's what I grew up on.
Wayne, you're fired.
I got that first record, the Van Halen record, and I was on Christmas, and I was like 13 or 14 or something. But that David Lee Roth. I mean, that's what I grew up on.
That's the greatest Christmas present one could ever ask for when it first came out. Absolutely.
Don, so you write, I mean, not only do you have the voice to match it, but you write these really, really demented lyrics. I mean, where do you get, are you into like, you know, like these serial killer movies or something like that to come up with such, you know, like Calling in the Corner, that little section where you're talking about, you know, the mother goes into the funeral home and stuff like that. Where do you come up with such crazy demented ideas?
He watched his Disney films like Bambi. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You know, it's just pictures in my mind, you know, as I try to think about, because I would, you know, you see them on news wheeling out the body, and, you know, and they got to go through a whole process and open casket funeral. And it just kind of comes together. I don't know.
So when Eternal Nightmare was released, did the FBI profile you?
No, they probably should have. They probably still do if they did. Or they probably started yesterday.
Not for nothing, but anything that's in metal lyrics, I'm sorry, stuff that's on the news is 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you know, I get a lot of my ideas from documentaries and reading, and I just try to think, you know, when it comes to topics outside, I just try to think outside the box and what sounds cool. And, you know, like phobophobia. You know, I didn't know anything about phobophobia. I just started looking up phobias and came across it, and I was just reading about stuff, and, you know, and TDS, the drug song, and a lot of those songs too. It's like you have the different points of view, you know, throughout the song. And it's funny because my dad was a cop and he read TDS, or no, yeah, he read TDS. After the first couple of verses, he's like, "What the hell is this? Are you glorifying drug use?" I'm like, "No, you got to keep reading it till the end, you know, and then you'll get the whole message." And, you know, so there was a lot of, and you know, like Engulfed by Flames, I just was like interested in that subject, so I started reading about it and looking up, you know, videos, and it just came out, you know, as one of the songs that I decided to write about, because it is demented.
Yeah.
You know.
Did your parents like your music?
No, they didn't like it. But my mom, you know, when she first heard the demo, she said to me, "Well, it sounds like it's professionally done." It's like, well, I had to sell my half stack to get my portion of the, you know, the funds, the $500 I needed.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, and my dad, he's seen me a couple times. He's passed away since, but he's seen me a couple times at the Omni. I don't know if he saw me at the Stone. He might have just seen me at the Omni a couple times. But yeah, my mom would go all the time. As a matter of fact, if you look at Thrash and the Titans, and while we're on stage, if you look at stage right, she's standing there next to the stack with her purse and her sweater looking out, and then my nephew's sitting right below her. So, yeah, you'll see my mom in there if you go look for her.
That's cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I went to that show mainly for Vio-Lence, but I like all these other bands, and every band was so on that night. But there was an energy even before Vio-Lence came out. It seemed like the whole place was there for the Vio-Lence reunion.
Yeah.
And the first thing you did when you walked out, I don't know if you remember this. You walked out and you just said, "What the fuck?" And I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah. Dude, we practiced 3 straight months for that show because we didn't want to go out there and fucking, piss our pants.
Killed it. And I don't know if you ventured into the bathroom after your set, but it was bloody. The bathroom was like, there was blood everywhere.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah, it was insane. And I got to say, most times when you watch like a concert video, it's like, it doesn't capture it like when you're actually there. But I got to say, that DVD you guys put out with the bonus disc of the Thrash, it really did capture that night. The vibe and everything. Like, I highly recommend. That's a great documentary too. With the late great Debbie Abono. It was like, the poor thing you put, the poor woman you guys put her through, I mean,
yeah, we did.
Yeah, but she's legendary, man.
She is.
If those that don't,
she was great. She was great for us on the road, and no one wanted their grandma on the road with her, but she took care of business. So all we had to worry about was playing and sound checking and eating and sleeping as much as we could.
That is one cool meme, definitely.
Yeah.
So awesome that she was into this music or really believed in you guys,
Yeah. When we went to, we were in New York, her daughter flew out, they went shopping, and then we have all these like expensive Gucci shit. They got all their bags in the van, and we're like, okay, we have equipment. There's like no room for us even, and you're bringing all these bags onto the van.
If you ever play Long Island, we'll take you to Tanger's Outlet. You'll get the Gucci stuff, but cheaper. So
nice. I'm not James Hetfield.
I love that meme. Oh man.
When you guys go out on tour, do you stay in the bus, or do you get hotels or stuff like that?
We don't do like that corner thing. That's what 5 shows, and we do the Oblivion Access Fest in Austin the day before the day before Chicago, and so we get hotels. We usually get a hotel for each of us, and we fly to our locations if we have to. Like we played Atlanta and Chicago. You have to fly from Atlanta to Chicago, so you're there in time. But I set up all the flights and all the rental cars if we need rental cars or Ubers and stuff like that.
Well, in Miami you won't, because I'll drive you guys around. You can stay at
awesome.
my place.
Yeah, well, a lot of the clubs, they do provide a driver, but not always.
Well, I'll drive you guys. You guys can stay in my house, but you ain't gonna sleep. I'm gonna talk your ass off. So now Phil Demo is gonna be touring with like helping out Overkill.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, since Bobby's in your band, was there any like Bobby was like, did Bobby ever say like, what the fuck, really? I mean, I know those songs. Why are they asking? Out of every guitar player on the planet.
Oh, Bobby wouldn't play with them. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I have talked to him about it, but
yeah. So
Yeah, I know the bad blood there.
Well, what's your favorite Celtic Frost album?
Morbid Tales.
Yes.
Morbid Tales,
Well, I hope you weren't
Best
betting on Cold Lake,
guest
Greg.
Ever.
I grew up on that before. I think I was listening to that before Megadeth's first record came out, and yeah. I mean, I come from the Bay Area scene from like when, because I went to high school with Cliff Burton. He was a friend of mine, and when they were in town during Kill 'Em All and Masters of Puppets, I helped him out on a couple shows here in the Bay Area, and I just come from that scene and seeing like Slayer. My first thrash show was Slayer at the Keystone, Berkeley, and they still had the black makeup under their eyes. But that was like my first thrash show, and then I saw them a couple nights later at Ruthie's Inn, and seeing Exodus at Ruthie's and Possessed, and all the bands from the Bay Area as they were kind of growing. And then our second wave, we kind of I think I played Ruthie's once, and then the rest of the times we were either playing the Stone or the Omni, or on Broadway or Mabuhay Gardens or something like Keystone, Santa Clara, or Palo Alto, wherever the hell it is. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, it's kind of cool that, because at the time you were just like punks hanging out, you loved the thrash metal, and, you know, the bands were really exciting because they're all young and hungry, and the shows were awesome. And I remember Ruthie's, the ceiling wasn't that high, and Toby Rage, he would just come off the stage walking across people's heads. So you always had to keep an eye out for Toby, or Andy would jump off the stage, like, you know, and you get the karate kick in the head, or, you know. And, you know, I've seen Paul Bailoff just destroy this dude that was in the middle of the pit with like he might have had the Union Jack tank top on. But yeah, Paul just got him from behind and just like smashed the dude. It was like, oh man. A lot of crazy shit happened in that club.
Were you friends with Paul?
Yeah, we hung out. He and I hung out a lot, actually. I used to help out Exodus on Bonded by Blood, like if we went to Sacramento, or they played, I think they played the Kabuki Theater with Megadeth. They might have been I think they were over Megadeth at the time. And yeah, but we did hang out a lot.
Super
You have any
7 is
crazy
actually
stories about that guy? Because I know there's many stories about Mr. Paul Bailoff. He used to have a business card to like wreck your house and stuff. He did.
Well, when we went to Sacramento, I remember me and my friend Don Griggs, we showed up in the morning because they're heading out, and Paul showed up. He had a little box with a dead mouse in it that he found in a mousetrap in his house, and he had it with him all day. And then after the show, we were at some after party, and some chick passed out, and he pulled out the mouse and dropped it right in her mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. She came out of the room fucking screaming once she realized what happened. We were all
some family entertainment.
Time to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, like, you're just into the old metal. Like, what are your main influences? Who would you say is like your favorite bands growing up, you know, before
Well, I listened to punk a lot back then, and I listened to, you know, Bonded by Blood and Show No Mercy, and, you know, all the classics. But when I write, I'm not like, I wouldn't say like, there's no sound I'm trying to get. It just comes, I just write, and that's what comes out, you know? So it's not like I'm chasing this sound. It's more of me, just my demented way of putting, you know, vocal patterns over thrash metal, and, you know, and the way I sound. It's not like I tried to do that. It just, that's what came out when I first started writing. And, you know, this album's a little bit more different because I put a lot more into it, and, you know, more mature than I think I was like 20 or when I wrote, you know, Eternal Nightmare lyrics, and maybe 19 for some of them. I can't remember, but we always partied at my house. You know, my mom, she moved to Holland when my brother and I were 18 and 19. So her house turned into the party house. You know, yeah. And so, you know, there's just a lot of people from that scene would come out to the house, and we'd be at, you know, after shows, you go to Metallica house, or where Bailoff lived, and there was like a studio in Oakland. We always used to go there after shows. Yeah. So it's like, am I influenced by anything? I would have to say more punk than anything. And I think that's why back in the day I spit out lyrics like I was, because I wanted that kind of punk sound, you know, but it wasn't like I was trying. You know, today I hear a lot of bands, and it's like they're chasing this sound, and, you know, it's like you can listen to Sirius XM, and I'd be driving down the highway, I wouldn't know if one band ended and another began if I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Yeah.
Which, you know, it is what it is.
Well, that's the thing about Vio-Lence. I mean, there was nobody that sounded like you at the time. Like, you know, you mentioned before, like Phobophobia. There was a time where my band wanted to record it, and I was like, there's no way I can do that. You know, 'cause the way you deliver Phobophobia is like even extra crazy with so many words, and, you know, like, and it was so original. You know, it's just an original. You had an original approach to your vocals that I don't think any thrash. Well, I know no thrash bands had. You know.
Rob, was this Thrash or Die or Combat wanted to cover it?
Thrash or Die, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
wanted.
well, I think a lot of those bands, because, you know, if you listen to Bonded by Blood, it doesn't sound like, with Paul's leading the band and those killer riffs that they wrote, it doesn't sound, like Slayer, and Slayer doesn't sound like Megadeth. And I think that's, and they don't sound like Suicidal, who come up all the time. And, and Possessed, I mean, they basically started death metal,
Right.
and they were out playing before some of these other bands. But
Right.
they all sound distinctly different, and Testament, Chuck and Death Angel with Mark. And so that's where I see that the resurgence of thrash, I think, is a good thing for music, because none of us ever sounded like each other, and we never, sounded like, you couldn't pick out a thrash metal band that sounds like any band that's young coming out with new music today.
Was it, I might have the band wrong. Was it Scarecrow you produced back in the day?
No, it was
With Will Carroll.
Yeah, well, I did a band called Chaos, and then I did they're gonna kill me if I don't fucking remember. Oh man, it's gonna come to me here. I just actually they're gonna re-release it. It's with Ted and Will Carroll, and I just did a 3-question, write-in interview, because they're gonna re-release the demo. I guess they got somebody to pick it up.
Right on. Yeah. Wanted to hear it because Will told me that, oh, Sean produced my band. I didn't know if it was Scarecrow or not. Not just like you, I can't remember the name of the band.
Yeah, it'll come to me. But yeah, I helped them out, and I got Rob and Phil donated their Marshalls so that they had something decent to record on, because they didn't have anything really good. And I had them stay at my house and fed them spaghetti, and it took us like 3 days. Not at Prairie Sun. What was it? I forget the name of the studio too. It was in Livermore.
Did you do a lot of producing?
No, not much. Just like, I'm still the same as I was back then. Like, I like the young bands because they have sounds that, and so when I go to shows, I don't go see Testament and Exodus and Death Angel. I go see, like, maybe Zet's kids band, Hatred, and I'll be there for the first band because I want to hear all these young kids and what they're doing. And it's just, a lot of times it's the first band that goes on that's the best. But the last Hatred show I went to a few weeks ago, the first band was pretty good, but the third band, they did really good. And, that's how you see new stuff. I've always been that way, and that's kind of why Warfare DC.
The energy that heavy metal really had in the early 80s, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales, just all kinds of different things. That's what Eternal Nightmare was really like. You guys totally accomplished it, and with the new EP, you're still on the same path.
Yeah, well, because we don't want to compromise. We want to be still heavier and faster and more intense and more vulgar and more offensive, and all those things put together. I mean, that's what metal to me is. It's not, heavy metal. It's like, I can't see myself singing about, my girlfriend, it just doesn't fit. Right. And so for me, it's like when I write lyrics and vocal lines, I just think metal, and not anything else. And, I don't try to make, take two things and make them one. Just, for me, it doesn't work. It's got to be hard. It's got to be heavy. It's got to be fuck you. It's got to be all that.
I can totally see you singing about killing your girlfriend.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I wouldn't do that.
Kind of like TSOL Cold Blue. I want to fuck the dead.
Yeah, dude. Why would they say that? For no other reason to offend somebody. And that's what I enjoy the most. It's like if my lyrics offend you, like Torture Tactics did for Atlantic Records, well then cool.
Right.
Thank
Good.
God.
Maybe you needed to be offended.
Yeah.
Good art is meant to offend.
Thank God for Caroline Records that put it out.
Yeah.
Your lyrics and violence, they were always pretty intense and descriptive and graphic, but you have a way of writing similar to Leaving, actually, from Fear, one of my favorite bands.
One of my heroes.
I just don't think anyone really, it stood out to the masses, so to speak, until Torture Tactics, because you're so good at linguistics. That was more blatant, but something like Call for the Coroner or Eternal Nightmare as a whole just blew right past them.
I gotta say, Greg, not to cut you off, they are brutal lyrics in Kill and Command, but Torture Tactics, that one's pretty brutal, man. You know, it's like the daughter and, you know, the way they would torture people. Isn't it true, Sean, that it did end up on Oppressing the Masses and then they destroyed all the copies that had it on there?
So it was to be released like 30 days, and then some executive at Atlantic saw the lyrics and put the kibosh on that song. At the same time, releasing Two Live Crew, Me So Horny, going, look, we stand for freedom of speech, but not that speech, because that hurt my feelings. You know? You can talk about asses all day long.
Yeah.
I love Me So Horny. Sorry. Just kidding.
That's a good song.
Man, fuck Two Live Crew. This is about violence.
Go ahead, Ralph. I see you itching over there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say.
That's just herpes.
You know, it's the great thing about herpes. You only catch it once.
Touche. Well,
It's the gift that goes
you
on
know, Ralph,
forever.
I gotta agree with that. And I'm not just sure. I'm HIV positive.
Yeah.
Wayne, take your show back. Doesn't matter anymore.
You said Violence,
Well, it happens.
Violence was your first band. You didn't do anything before Violence, like even jam with a band locally or practice
No,
with anybody?
no.
So how did it happen? How did you get the gig? Because I know Violence was already around before you.
Yeah. So Jerry, we all worked together at this place. We took Subarus off of ships and processed them, put mag wheels on them and cleaned them and everything, and sent them out on trains and trucks. And it was Greggy Christian worked there, Zet worked there. You know, Dean, Phil, Dean's brother Dave, Eric Peterson, I think, worked there. So when Jerry left the band, you know, Dean was like, well, hey, Jerry left the band. We don't have a singer. And so I went up to Phil and said, hey, I'll try that. Why not? You know, I dig metal. So when I went to try out, they gave me the lyrics and I was like, oh, I don't even get this. So I rewrote the lyrics. And so I went to try out and I come in, I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I rewrote the lyrics. And they're like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? You know? And then I did the 3 songs that Phil gave me. And then I didn't hear from him. I saw Phil at Ruthie's Inn in the parking lot. I was like, hey, so what's up? And he's all, well, Jerry decided to come back to the band. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. And I think it was a few weeks later, they came back at work and said, hey, so Jerry left again. You want to try out again? I was like, yeah, sure. So that's how I got in the band. But no, I was never in a band before or after, you know.
Wow, man. And you came up with this style of singing. Well, this style of singing, you know, maybe you got some from some certain punk band, or is that just originally you? Because I never heard anybody deliver.
I just wrote the lyrics like I heard them come, you know, because I would listen to the music and just write lyrics on top of it. I still do it the same way. And that's just what I hear in my head, you know. And for me, it's like the pattern, the vocal pattern is often the hardest piece for me to pull together. And then the lyrics come pretty quick after that. I mean, there's a couple songs that took me a little bit of time to write, but you know, Gato Negro took me a little bit of time, but once I get the pattern, the lyrics kind of come easy because I'm not necessarily thinking about words as direction, where I want to go, where do I want to take this, and you know, and so you know, that's kind of how it comes out. It's how it's always come out of me, you know.
Right on.
So I'm pretty fortunate in that, and I'm fortunate that you know, I don't know, writing lyrics for me is kind of simple. I don't know. I mean, they're pretty tough. I mean, the lyrics are pretty in depth, but there's only a few times I actually struggled to write the lyrics to a song. It's usually the pattern that takes me a little more time.
Did Mentally Afflicted come to you like kind of quick?
Mentally Afflicted, it came pretty quick. I wrote that bass riff Yeah, I wrote that. It was funny is when Christian was working with us, he was just like, man, who fucking let the singer write a riff? Because it's such it'll tie your fingers in knots, you know? And, but yeah, that one was, that one came pretty easy. I think it was like, TDS took me a little bit of time to write. And, you know, you get blocks of, you stop and, you know, do it come back to it a couple days later when you have that. But, you know, once I get on a roll, it's like, oh yeah. And so then I can go back and I just write what comes in my head too. And then sometimes, a lot of times I'll go back and edit it, and, you know, change words, maybe that have different number of syllables. And cause I'm thinking about that too, you know, how does it fit?
Phobophobia, that might've been tough, right?
Actually, the lyrics came out pretty quick for Phobophobia. Yeah.
That's a real busy one.
And Kill on Command was pretty easy. Eternal Nightmare took me a little bit of time, but that's the first song I ever wrote lyrics to.
All right, guys.
Cool. Getting to the new EP. Did you want to do an EP or did you want to maybe do an album?
No, Phil and I, when we were in Mesa there, we were talking about doing it. And then it was like, well, I don't want to get bogged down trying to do some 10-song album, and we haven't written anything, you know, for a long time.
Yeah.
And so it was, we both agreed that four songs would work and we could put out a 4-song EP. And then, you know, as we're writing, that turned into 5 songs because we got on a roll. And like I said, Flesh from Bone was the first song we wrote. And then Screaming Always. And then what was the third song? I think it might have been Let the World Burn. I think it was Let the World Burn, then Gato Negro, and then Upon Their Cross. That's kind of how we wrote them, you know, in that order. Yeah. But yeah, we never thought about writing an album. And even today we talk about, well, we'll only do like 5 songs, or, you know, the EP format's good because then we can get music done and get it out, you know.
You told me the lyrics. You don't know this, but this is a funny story. I have my guitar player who joined the band at 17. He would call me almost every day just to talk about you. That's all he would call me about your lyrics and certain things. Well, for his birthday, I ordered a cameo for you to do for him. And
you did?
Yeah, and I got the money back. And then I got the money back because you didn't do it for some reason. But then the next day, you sent me like the cameo saying, look, I'm sorry, I don't know the apps on my phone, or I didn't see it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And you wished him a happy birthday, and you recited some of the lyrics to Flesh and Bone, and boy, you made his day. And when
awesome.
And then he called me, like, you know, for several weeks after that, reciting those lyrics. Man, I can't wait to hear the song. It's so Killian, you know, it's so demented, you know, it's breathing, die, and, you know, I breathe your last breath. Is that what it was? It's just classic, whatever it was.
It's inhaling I stand on cowards, inhaling their last breath.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Yeah, he was very.
It's a vision. It comes to my head, dude. It's like, I don't know. It's just what I see, and then I just say it. And you know, the thing about the lyrics for this EP is, unlike Calling in the Corner, which, you know, in some of the other songs, which are very specific, this is more like, you know, me trying to take what I see in my head and put it down in words. And then I'm hoping that when people read the lyrics, they're seeing images in their head that, you know, are their own images. And a lot of times, you know, I do interviews and like, oh, we'll describe the song and what does this mean? And what does that mean? And you know, the song, and it's like, well, you know, it's about this, you know, I give them a vague, you know, like Gato Negro is about, you know, Edgar Allan Poe's Black Cat. It's loosely kind of structured around that. But it's like, I don't like to go in lyrics because I want someone for the first time to read the lyrics and have that picture in their mind. And then every time they hear that song, that picture comes to their head. Like, you know, if they're at a club and they're there to see, you know, Butcher Babies and the DJ plays, you know, Flesh from Bone, and those images pop into their heads. That's kind of what I was after this time.
To make the listener come up with their own conclusion?
Well, just their own images. You know, when you read a book, you know, you kind of see your mind's eye starts, you know, showing you the images to your brain and what you think the author's, you know, like you put yourself in that scene, you know, if like there was no Lord of the Rings movies, you know, you read Lord of the Rings and you're trying to imagine what it's like, you know, that's kind of what I was shooting for.
Have you ever encountered, Sean, like a really demented fan? Since, you know, these lyrics.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a good friend of mine, and he's that guy. He knows all the lyrics. He like screams them in restaurants, breakfast,
airplanes.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Like when the food's over, does he say $1 million paycheck?
But he says the more vulgar stuff, but he just does like you just did, a one line, you know. He doesn't like recite the whole song, but he'll do one of those lines in there, you know.
You should start charging him
I'll pay you
royalties.
for it. What the fuck?
Like he'll be like, "Head stopping boots." Shit like that.
Bodies on bodies.
Guess so.
How did Bobby end up in the band? How did that happen?
He and Perry are friends, and you know, they've been friends for a long time, and then when Phil was thinking about the new songs, that all he could think about was, I need a muted guitar player that does down picking, and you know, Bobby fit in. Well, Ray, you know, he did a great job for us, but he's a punk rock guitar player, so he, you know, a lot of open strumming, and so we had to make that change to record, so we got the sound that we were looking for.
Right on. All right, guys. Hopefully, I'm gonna get Sean alone on my channel. Hey, Sean, man, I got 25,000 subscribers. You got to come to my channel after the album's out. And
okay, get a hold of Tom. Tom sets up all my interviews.
Right on.
Yeah. He's a good guy. And the cool thing about Metal Blaze, they all work really hard to get, you know, to support the bands that they have on their label.
You came here on Oppressing the Masses, which was not a huge tour, right? I mean,
no, there's us in Defiance, local band from the Bay Area. They just put out a record. We took them with us, and you know, we had some issues with our management at the time. You know, Debbie wasn't with us, and we hired this guy who was a total clown. And so, yeah, we had some good shows, and then we had some shows where it's like, oh shit, did you promote the show? Does anyone even know we're here? And we were following the Exodus tour.
That was, you guys played a venue called the Thrash Can. That was short-lived, but it was a great show. It wasn't a bad turnout, actually. It was a pretty good turnout. But the only bad thing about that venue was that there was a big pole in the middle.
Yeah, wasn't that like a punk place where it was mostly hardcore, you know?
Yeah, it was a punk, a lot of graffiti on the walls, and it was very narrow, and it had a big pole in the middle. And during your set, there was just, you know, the pit would erupt, and everybody just kept bashing into the pole, hurting themselves. But that was a great. I mean, it was early in the tour. And again, here's a little fanboy moment. I was up front when you guys were doing Many Afflicted, and you were like giving me a high five because I kept saying with you, call me, man. Like, guy knows the song, because the album was fairly new at the time. You know?
Yeah.
But
now, if I mess up the lyrics, everyone up front looks at me like, hey, dude, you just fucked up.
When Ralph said big pole, I thought he was referring to my 6'7" Polish father-in-law from Brooklyn, but I don't think he meant that pole.
That's pretty tall.
I look up to him.
I'm sure you do.
Glad somebody got it for once.
Oh, and aside from that, I just think we should all take a second out to acknowledge that Vio-Lence and Voivod, Eternal Nightmare and Dimension Hatros.
Yeah.
That could have been the greatest fucking tour ever.
I saw
So they were part of the Testament tour. So it was Testament, Voivod, Vio-Lence, and that's when I think Piggy might have got sick at the time, and so they had to cancel and then reschedule. I think he had to go through some chemo at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So that would have been killer, Testament, Voivod, Vio-Lence. So that's what it was originally packaged as.
So the whole Oppressing the Masses thing was, do you think it was like a debacle as far as promotion goes because of the firing of Debbie Abono?
Yeah, well, Maria and Debbie were great friends, and it was kind of a stupid move on our part, but you know, we were young and we didn't know any better. And at the time, she wasn't able to help us. She was going through some skin cancer, and so you know, it was like, well, we really don't have a manager. We're recording a record and stuff. But that was probably the biggest bonehead move we ever made, for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, we're all knuckleheads, 20-year-olds, 20-something-year-olds.
We'll live and learn. I mean, she seemed grateful anyway in the documentary. She didn't
Yeah,
seem, heard about it or anything.
No, she was always just really nice, and you know, it's really cool. And the great thing is she's helped so many young bands, you know. With
Ralph, you were interviewed. Oh, I'm sorry, Sean. And I thought
no,
you
and like she would welcome us into her house for parties, and you know, Metallica would be there, and you know, James would be there, and maybe Kirk, I don't know, but it was just like, you know, she knew everybody, and so there was a lot of good times. As a matter of fact, I remember we were all standing there watching Guns N' Roses' first video, "Welcome to the Jungle," and I was standing next to James, and I'm just like, oh, this sucks. This isn't metal. Yeah. And then later they toured with them, and yeah, I guess that was a nightmare for Metallica.
I wouldn't think Guns N' Roses was ever metal. I don't know why they were even considered metal. I mean,
no, you know, it was MTV back then, and there's Guns N' Roses.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Poison was metal.
Yeah, Poison was metal. Yeah, you got it.
At Headbangers Ball, they had Slaughter and all that shit on there.
Yeah, Headbangers Ball. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like millions of people that think Master of Puppets is the greatest thrash metal album of all time.
Now, that would be Eternal Nightmare and Bonded by Blood.
Ralph, you were interviewed for one of those Bay Area documentaries, right?
Killian Technology myself.
I am in one of those documentaries. No, I wasn't interviewed. My music's on it.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Bob Nalbamian's Godfathers of the Bay Area, but it wasn't all thrash. I mean, it was Y&T.
Yeah, it was Laws Rock. I watched that the other day, and it was kind of like it got boring after a while. We're like, okay, where's the metal?
Yeah. Well, what was also boring about it was my music was underneath the whole thing.
Ooh, the last honest man.
I mentioned Eternal Nightmare, one of my songs, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was Wake Up Smell Thrash, and there is I say an Eternal Nightmare during it.
No, Sean, I really do want to put over Ralph's channel, though. It's 25,000 subscribers. The man is like, when it comes to metal, classic hard rock, and you know, classic metal, I mean, you know, him being a genuine fan. And you know, I know we're, you know, joking around, but I mean, the truth is, to have Ralph on the show, especially because, you know, you're on and you're his favorite thrash singer. I mean, I think it's, Ralph, I love your enthusiasm in this episode. It's great. And honestly, I cannot put over his channel enough. The content he puts out is always consistently good. He never puts out anything that's shit. So
yeah, to me, Sean, it's like Black Sabbath, Merciful Fate, and Vio-Lence. When I talk about those three bands on my channel, it's a lot of enthusiasm, you know.
Awesome.
That I just go to, you know, I did a review on Eternal Nightmare with footage of you guys, track by track, and footage of, because I'm really good at editing, footage of you guys talking. I don't know if you ever seen it. I made a video for Serial Killer where I only use footage of Henry, Portrait of Serial Killer. You know,
I think I did see that.
Yeah, that was me that made that.
Okay. Awesome.
Wait till I tell Ryan that. Can you give a shout out to my friend Ryan Taylor? He's your biggest fan, I swear.
What up, Ryan?
Bigger than you?
Yeah, bigger than me. I'm telling you, this kid, and he's a kid. You know,
what's up, Ryan Taylor? Metal up your ass.
There you go. You know, I may be like a fanboy and shit like that, but I'm no stalker. So, you know, I don't want, you know, when Vio-Lence comes to town, I don't want to be banned at the door.
Don't worry. You won't be banned at the door.
Well, this has been such an honor. Believe me, you know,
thanks.
And Ryan's going to be psyched with your little shout out. And I thank you for the free cameo, you know.
Oh, no problem.
it was cool because when they sent the money back, I was like, what a bummer. And then the next day, and it was funny because I timed it. I did it like weeks before his birthday. And the freakiest thing is you sent it the day before his birthday. So it got there right in time, you know. It was awesome.
Excellent.
Cool. Nice.
Well, hey, yeah, definitely get a hold of Todd, and I'll go on your.
We'll do. I'm gonna, you know, probably set it up after the album comes out before you go before. And one last question. Is there, I know you can't say it, but is there anything in the works as far as more touring after the corner?
Well, we're on Bloodstock and Alcatraz and festivals. Currently, we have a 13-show Headbangers Ball tour set up in Europe, Germany, Austria, places like that. But we're, our agent's working on some stuff for us. And then we figure once the EP comes out and everyone hears the full thing that we might get some more requests. Because like the 2019, all the shows we played, I didn't reach out to anyone. They were contacting us and we were just setting them up. But now I got an agent because I can't do all that, and he's connected too. So, and we're supposed to be in Chile and Brazil in September. And, we're hoping that everything opens up because we're not vaccinated, and just Phil is, but the rest of us aren't. So, we play in the States. We have shows scheduled outside the States. If mandates and stuff are lifted, then we'll be there.
I know you played Puerto Rico, but have you played any other South American place before?
Mexico City. We played Tijuana with Overkill and Excel a while ago, but not much.
Yeah, believe me, I toured Colombia and a bunch of South American places, and you can't find more fanatical fans.
9,000 people in Colombia, right, Ralph?
Huh?
9,000 people in Colombia. You headlined to, right?
Yeah, we headlined a festival of 8,000 people, and I said after the show, "That's it." And I like this.
I made it.
That's how I felt. Like I made it.
Yeah.
I played in front of 8,000 people, and I praised Eternal Nightmare on stage that night too.
Right on.
So yeah, big fan. But and I'm not going to be banned from a violent show, so I'm going to shut up before I put my foot in my mouth.
Nah, don't worry about it. That won't happen.
He's bad. I'll send you
And
a picture.
Bobby's a friend of mine, so
I'll send you a picture of Ralph, and you can give it to the front guy. To front.
Okay.
Don't let
I
this
will.
guy in. Again, Sean.
one last thing: is Bobby going to be in California soon, like before the tour for anything?
He'll come here to practice. We'll rehearse together before we head out.
All
We
right.
have another show. It's in Turlock. It's the Hemp Fest. We don't know who the headliner is, but I don't know that it's been announced yet. But yeah, we'll be there, and then we go to the, like I said, the Oblivion Access in San Antonio or Austin, Texas, and then we head out with Corner after that. So
Right.
little.
Well, tell
we'll have
Bobby,
some fun.
Dr. Fuck said hi. He knows me.
I will.
If
Yeah,
you
they're
remember
texting me.
that.
They're texting me as we're talking. We got a little group text.
Right on. All right, we should let him go. And I look forward
Are you sure?
well, I know I'm going to get him on my channel, man.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
screw this dog and pony show. I'm kidding.
Wayne, any type of
Dog and
plugs?
pony show.
Dog and Pony Show, you son of a bitch. Thank you very much again for coming on the show. Good luck with the new
Yes.
EP, and hope to see you back on again.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
All
Right
right,
on.
everybody
Cheers,
go
Sean.
check out ratsaladreview.com. Music is lifepodcast.com, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's it. I still have to update the site.
you do. And Almost Human 56 on YouTube, Ralph's
Yeah.
channel.